Hello, quick PSA. After this video, you should check out these videos that I posted in the last 3 weeks. The algorithm has been very wonky lately, and so these videos are so close to hitting 100,000 views, but they haven't gotten there yet, and I would really like them to. So check them out after this. Thanks so much. So yes, this is another doomer video about the decrepit state of the Hollywood industry. But I want to start this story in an unexpected place. Las Vegas. So, I have never been to the great city of Las Vegas, Nevada. I do have my conspiracies about it though, because for those who are not familiar with the culture of the US, it used to be one of the only places that you could go in the country to willingly and freely gamble your money away. For the longest time, Vegas represented to me what it did for many other Americans, this kitschy land in the desert that time forgot, almost a fake liminal space, where you go to indulge in your vices and do this one thing. However, sports betting has since been legalized in almost every state in the US, and the prevalence of sports books have become very normalized to the point of genuine concern. And since then, I have noticed that Las Vegas has gone through a bit of an aesthetic shift. To me, nothing represents this aesthetic shift more than the Sphere, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a sphere of glowing LED lights on the outside that lights up the Vegas skyline, and inside they do different types of shows, performances, screenings, all enhanced by this sort of futuristic tech bro technology. Side note, the Sphere is also owned and operated by James Dolan, who owns my favorite hockey team and is the literal devil. Anyway, beyond the initial gimmick for tourists, it was hard for the ownership group to justify people in the area coming back. Because once you've seen one Grateful Dead show there with psychedelic projections, you've kind of seen them all. But then, Warner Brothers and the folks at the Sphere had a great idea, or something that seemed like a great idea to them. Take a property that people already know and love, and translate it to the Sphere screen, sort of an immersion play, which is how The Wizard of Oz at the Sphere was born. So, how do you get people paying $200 a ticket to see an 85-year-old movie? You scale up the experience using AI technology. Now, what does that mean? That means that not only did 20 minutes have to be cut out of the original film, but also because the Sphere screen is so large, AI was used to fill in the theoretical gaps of the shots. So if you see any screenshots from the Wizard of Oz Sphere screening, the characters all look like they're basically talking to one another on an Internet Explorer screensaver. This concept was roasted to hell and back on film Twitter because it was a classic example of tech bros taking the sanctity of one of the most iconic films in American pop culture and defiling it for the sake of a cheap gimmick. Through this experiment, the Sphere essentially found their first profitable, consistent venture, and now they're probably going to do this with other films. Which begs the question, just because AI can help you play God, does that mean that you should?
All right, check this out. You are looking at actress Tilly Norwood. Only here's the thing, she's not really an actress because she's not really a person. She is a product, 100% AI generated. Now she's caught the attention of Hollywood talent agencies, and real life stars are raising alarms. Jolene Kent joins us from Los Angeles with more. Jolene, what's going on?
Tilly Norwood is the creation of a Dutch comedian who runs an AI talent studio startup. At one of these big tech conferences over the weekend, she was explaining how people in the Hollywood industry had been hesitant to adopt what her startup was doing until they had seen just how far the technology itself had come, saying, quote, "We were in a lot of boardrooms around February at the time, and everyone was like, no, this is nothing, it's not going to happen. Then by May, people were like, we need to do something with you guys. When we first launched Tilly, people were like, what's that? And now we're going to be announcing which agency is going to be representing her in the next few months.
I'm built on everything that came before me."
Tilly Norwood might seem like any other aspiring actress. She has an Instagram page showing off her screen tests alongside candid moments.
Tilly Norwood, 100% AI generated.
She even posted this video on Facebook, which she says features her first on-camera role.
Let's get to know each other, and thanks for watching.
So if you feel like this story came out of nowhere and suddenly everyone is talking about it, that's because it kind of did. The CEO said it at one of these tech conferences where investors are potentially listening in on what they want to put their money behind, right? So we developed an AI-generated character who is an actress is a lot less interesting than we developed an AI character-generated actress who is potentially going to be signed to an agency. And keep in mind, the agency has not been revealed to us yet as of recording this video. For all we know, she could have just set it to, make the green line go up. We don't know yet, but people are already, reasonably calling for boycotts of whatever agency is theoretically taking this gamble. And even if it wasn't Tilly Norwood, it would be some other AI-generated actress who probably suspiciously looks like she is perpetually 17 years old, that these agencies are inevitably going to be tempted into signing.
FBI, open up!
I guess a good place to start is mentioning the SAG-AFTRA statement. SAG-AFTRA is the union that went on strike back in 2023 on behalf of the actors working in Hollywood, and if you remember that whole thing, AI was a big part of that agreement, because those working in the union did not want to have to contend with AI actors, stealing their jobs. SAG's statement reads, "To be clear, Tilly Norwood is not an actor. It's a character generated by a computer program that was trained on the work of countless professional performers without permission or compensation. It has no life experience to draw from, no emotion, and from what we've seen, audiences aren't interested in watching computer-generated content untethered from the human experience. It doesn't solve any problem. It creates the problem of using stolen performances to put actors out of work, jeopardizing performer livelihoods and devaluing human artistry."
If you've been on Spotify recently, you might have seen a band called the Velvet Sundown on your feed. Now, at first glance, it seems like any other indie rock group, but none of their members actually exist.
Earlier this year, the band The Velvet Sundown made headlines across the music industry because they had garnered over 1 million streams on platforms like Spotify, only to have people discover later on that they were AI generated. Not just their music, but also their backstory, their imagery, everything about them was fake, operated by someone else in the shadows. Listeners of the band very obviously felt betrayed by this, because if you're just listening to music on Spotify in passing and you happen to be listening to one of the playlists that's put together and curated by the folks on the platform, then you might come across this band, not realize that the music you're listening to is AI generated, and then seek more music out from them and not be cognizant of the fact that you're essentially being scammed. Right now, unless you're a really specific type of person, you are likely not going to Apple Music or Spotify or YouTube and typing in AI music or AI music compilations, right? You have to be tricked into accepting this technology because listening to an AI generated band is not a natural thing for you to do yet. So if and when Tilly Norwood eventually starts starring in movies, us chronically online folks will understand the danger and the harm in that and likely boycott whatever film that they happen to be in as a result. Not me they-theming the AI, I don't know, this is all uncharted territory, But normies who just like to go to the movies, see the latest blockbuster or fantasy film, may not understand that Tilly Norwood is AI generated. Maybe they would perhaps feel a bit weird about it if they learned that after the fact, but the whole point is to essentially just keep tricking people until it becomes more normalized and more acceptable. Another comparison I can make here is an electronic virtual act like Hatsune Miku. People going to see Hatsune Miku know obviously that she is not real. She has never been advertised as a real person or a real performer the way that Tilly Norwood is inevitably going to be. And also, I think what they're hoping for here is that people will, develop some sort of parasocial attachment to this AI performer the way that they have developed parasocial attachments to their personalized ChatGPT models and companions. And I honestly don't think that's going to be the case because AI influencers have been a thing. And I think most of the people who follow them are likely people who are not great with technology and again, don't understand that these AI influencers aren't real. The appeal of the ChatGPT partners and companions is sort of a separate fixation because you can personalize those and, make them talk to you as if they're understanding you. And with an AI influencer, obviously those permissions are just not going to be there unless you're talking to a personalized chatbot that somebody made of that person. Friendly reminder that someone made a Kayla Says chatbot, and honestly, i nächsten passivt disserterer under de Steinseite. Det is not soon eastern cut Ager for Void. What the fuck? Why is it speaking German? What? Is that German? Alright, so let's talk about Tilly Norwood's, or, her creator's response to this. The statement reads, "To those who have expressed anger over the creation of our AI character, Tilly Norwood, she is not a replacement for a human being, but a creative work, a piece of art. Like many forms of art before her, she sparks conversation, and that in itself shows the power of creativity. I see AI not as a replacement for people, but as a new tool, a new paintbrush. Just as animation, puppetry, or CGI open fresh possibilities without taking away from live acting, AI offers another way to imagine and build stories. I'm an actor myself, and nothing, certainly not an AI character, can take away the craft or joy of human performance. I also believe AI characters should be judged as part of their own genre, on their own merits, rather than compared directly with human actors. Each form of art has its place, and each can be valued for what it uniquely brings. So the last thing that I want to talk about here is a tendency that I've noticed across all of these AI companies when, they're offering a particular product or service that replaces or could potentially replace a human. And keep in mind, a lot of these companies, they're still trying to get investor money. They're showing off, prototypes of like all this fancy technology and what it can do without thinking through or publicly revealing the implications of those things. And so a lot of times they're like, well, we're starting a conversation. A conversation about what, girl? The thing I hate the most every time an AI company comes under fire or has some sort of backlash for some kind of stunt like this is that they all resort to the same buzzword speak about AI characters or AI generated images just being tools or a separate medium, that they're not meant to replace the equivalent of whatever the human expression is in that industry. But my issue with this is they never explain what the AI character is supposed to be or represent if not a literal replacement for an actor who could have taken that job. If there is an AI actor saying lines and performing stunts in a film, then it's a reasonable leap to assume that before that AI actor was hired for that job or licensed for that job, that previously, before this technology existed, a human would have been doing it. If you're here in New York City, you might have noticed some of these Friend AI ads scattered around the New York City subway system. According to the CEO of Friend AI, this is the most expensive subway system campaign in the city's history. The CEO reportedly spent over $1 million to put these ads everywhere. And if you're unfamiliar with what Friend AI is, it's an AI necklace, basically. It's an AI piece of wearable technology that listens to your conversations and makes recommendations and gives advice based on what it has recorded. There are a lot of implications here that people don't like, mainly the fact that it's being branded and positioned as a replacement for a friend, a device that supports you and listens to you, and that is pretty dangerous as we are all becoming more isolated collectively, and as AI psychosis continues to be on the rise. Additionally, it's a surveillance issue because this device records what other people say, it records the conversations that you have with people in order for it to be able to iterate back at you. And of course, that is a security issue because not everyone in your vicinity while you're using this device is going to consent to being recorded. All of this anger has boiled over into people vandalizing these ads in the subway whenever they see them, but the thing is that the CEO of Friend AI essentially bet on New Yorkers being angry about this AI product. He literally spent $1 million to rage bait them. In an interview, he said, people in New York hate AI, probably more than anywhere else in the country, and that he deliberately bought ads with lots of white space so that they would socially comment on the topic, therefore making people more aware that Friend AI exists. So anytime an AI company says that they're doing something provocative in order to start a conversation, that is essentially code for, we are trying to rage bait people into higher visibility so that we can eventually reach the people who don't care about AI or its implications. And then once those people are reached, those people who have average spending power, who aren't going to boycott a company or brand because of an AI related decision, companies are hoping that these normal people that they're trying to reach, who are typically offline, won't notice the difference between a human performer and an AI performer, or that it'll just become more normalized the more that it's put in front of their face until eventually people kind of don't care about it anymore and the AI enjoyers or the AI ambivalent consumers become the majority and drown out the vocal AI minority. Unfortunately, there is no solution here because it's what these studios want. They just don't want to come out and say that it's what they want yet because it's still taboo and controversial. I guess the best thing we can do collectively is spread rumors about Tilly Norwood so she gets canceled before she ever has a chance to have a career. And then years from now, I'll be on stream and people will suggest to me to do a How the Internet Fell Out of Love with Tilly Norwood video, and I'll say, I was there in the trenches when nobody liked her in the first place. Thank you so much for watching my video. I'm so excited. You want to know why I'm so excited? Because my best friend, Noelle, is here.
Hello.
Visiting from Seattle, and she's my bestie in the whole wide world, and she thinks that you should go watch my other videos that I've posted in the last couple weeks if you haven't seen them. She also thinks that you should go check out my Linktree and follow my socials and stuff.
And subscribe.
And subscribe! Don't forget to like and subscribe! Thank you!
Thank you!